I think it's pronounced crew 90.
What's up, boys and girls? It's your boy Johnny, aka Crew 90. So just a few days ago, somebody commented on one of my videos asking how do I get from the kitchen to the couch or any other room for that matter if I only have one leg. So I wanted to show people, the answer to that question is pretty simple. I walk. Alright, so obviously when they asked this question, they were implying how would I do it if I'm not wearing my prosthetic leg? And the fact of the matter is it's actually a pretty good question because, there really is no amputee school. You're very lucky if you get a week, maybe a month tops of occupational therapy where they teach you stuff, but even then, they're not teaching you things like that. They're teaching you more like how to be safe while showering or stuff like that. So these are actual things that amputees have to figure out for themselves. And to be honest, when I was a brand new amputee, that was actually something that I specifically struggled with. I would pour myself a drink and then I wouldn't know how to get it all the way across the house. So to answer this question, I want to actually go ahead and do it as I would do it if I wasn't wearing a prosthetic. So we got to get this prosthetic off. And there we go. So there's actually a couple of different things that I used to do back when I was still new. The fact is nowadays, my balance, my sense of coordination is immaculate. So I have a cup of, this is soda, and I can actually hop with it and not spill a single drop. However, when you're new to the amputee world, you're not gonna have that type of coordination. So let me show you what I used to do. Okay, so one of the first things that I started trying to do when I had to get a drink from across the house to my couch or my bedroom was I would just get down onto my knee. So even though I'm missing my leg, I am missing it below the knee, so I was able to do this. And this was pretty much what I would do to get my drink across the house. Now, some of y'all are gonna be like, yeah, I'm not about to crawl around my house when people are over. Listen, no shame to the game, okay? We like to say, oh, I'm not handicapped, I'm handy capable and all this stuff. And while that's true and it's great, at the end of the day, we are disabled. We are handicapped. So you have to adapt, overcome, and survive. If this is what you have to do to make your life easier, then do it. No shame to your game, just do what is best for you. Now, this was the other method that I used to do. I used to genuinely scoot. Very simple. Take your drink, take your leg, take your butt, and drop. Put the drink down, and just rotate. And I would genuinely scoot across the floor like this. Again, no shame to your game. Don't be embarrassed to do this. I have genuinely done this in front of people. And yes, oftentimes people would be like, oh, let me get that drink for you, I'll help you. And I would be like, no, I want to do it myself. I would rather scoot across the floor than take somebody's help because I still wanted to maintain my level of independence. I refuse to let people help. So there's that option. Now, if all of those are a little bit too much, like, oh, I can't do that. Like, see, now I can hop without spilling a drop. But the point is, if all of that was still too much for you, then I also used to slide like this. You just rotate. Still movement. If you're not good with coordination, you still might spill, but you're basically just twisting across the floor like you're dancing. You just do that, and you can slide, and it still mimics the motion. When you're hopping, you have all of this movement. When you're sliding, you're just twisting your ankle, basically. The drink stays very much still. You can just scoot all around the house. Go that way, I can go this way. What do you want me to do? I can do it. Ooh, this is some good balance, right? Or like I said, once you get to like 10 years, 11 years, I think I was able to hop with the drink at like 5 years into it. You can hop and you're able to balance yourself because you can adjust your hand motions for your hopping motions. I can hop all over. This drink ain't going nowhere. So anyways, those are some quick things just to help you get a drink across the house. You know what the best method though is? Here you go. Drinks with a lid and a straw. And again, Don't be embarrassed to use it. Okay, so while we're in the kitchen, I want to do a couple other things really fast as like a bonus. Something else I struggled with as a very new amputee. How to get a pot of boiling water from the stove to the sink. In my house right now, it's very simple. You want to see what you do? You do this. Okay? But not everybody has a house like this, and one of the reasons I bought a house that had such a tight kitchen was for this very reason. I knew there was going to be instances where I wasn't wearing my prosthetic and I needed to cook. So my parents' house, which is where I had to move back into right after I left the hospital, it was much, much bigger than my house now. It was like 2,800 square feet. It was a very big open floor plan, so everything was very spaced out. And in their kitchen, you had basically the stove was on this counter, then behind you on the other counter was where the sink was, and it was too far apart to just like reach to the sink. There was a definite gap. So what I used to do was I would grab a pot holder, I would put the pot holder on the ground, I would put the pot onto the pot holder, then I would hop across to the other side and then pick it up and then dump it. And if you notice, like even right now, I'm holding onto my fridge. I just did that without even thinking about it. Hold on to your counter. You'll get to the point where it becomes second nature to hold on to things. I have impeccable balance. I made a video called Balancing on My Prosthetic Leg. I have impeccable balance balancing on the prosthetic, but even more so balancing on my sound, regular flesh and blood leg. But even still, I will hold on to things. Do not be embarrassed or ashamed. I hold on to my counters, I sit on my counters, and that takes me to the next thing. A lot of times, when I'm cooking, I don't want to just stand here, so I genuinely will sit. My tools, my utensils are right here. I will cook. All of my spices are right here. Everything's right here. And guess what? When I'm ready to drain, colander goes in, pot goes in. Again, you might not be lucky enough to have your house set up like this, but sit on the counter, cook. I'm not actually telling you to sit on the counter, because if you sit on the counter and then fall off and hurt yourself or break your counter, I don't want you coming and being like, well, Crew 90 told me to. So I'm going to say right now, I am not endorsing sitting on your counter. I am merely saying that that is what works for me, and if you choose to follow in my direction, it may work for you. That's what we're going to say. So anyways, sit on the counter, and then if you have to get across, let's pretend that like genuinely, this is where my stove was. Again, I would have my pot holder, I would put it over here. I would move this to the pot holder. And then, once I hopped over closer to the sink, then I would put it into the sink. You always use a pot holder so you don't burn your counter. But so use your counters. You know, you have to go from here to there. Obviously, I could still kind of reach, but it's just not, it's not gonna work. So what I would do is, you know, pot holder there. So reach, put it onto the pot holder, then move, then drain. It's all about just using everything around you. Because we are literally disabled people living in an able-bodied people world. You have to adjust, adapt, and overcome. One last bonus piece while we're in the kitchen. Pretty much my entire life, my parents had a garbage can that you just lifted the lid and put the trash in. Within about a month or so of me coming back home from the hospital and suddenly only having one leg, my parents decided that was a good time to go ahead and buy themselves a garbage can that required you to step on it to open it. And it took me a very long time to figure out how to do it. Eventually, my dumbass went out to the store, and once I lived on my own again, bought myself a garbage can that requires you to step on it to open it. Now, in theory, this is a great device because you can open it hands-free. However, if you're walking around your house one day and you don't have your prosthetic leg on, it can be a little bit of a challenge. So, just to make it better for the camera so you can see it, I'm gonna put it here. How do you open up a garbage can that you have to step on when you only have one leg? Look, all my socks are coming off. Let me just take them off. How do you do it? Okay, well, I, again, have been doing this for a while. Here, I actually want you to be able to see me, so we're gonna move it here. Okay, and so the question, though, really is, how do you open this? I have had this garbage can for years. I've had a garbage can like this for even longer, and even I still can't quite do it properly. Like, it's hard. How do you open it up when you have to step on it? Well, if you have it up against the counter, don't be ashamed to use the counter. Pull up right next to it, and then step with your toe. Very simple. If you can't do that though, I have done this numerous times. If it's in a place that's not up against the counter, or your hands are full with garbage, so you can't quite grab onto something, guess what I do, boys and girls? I do this, ready? I'm holding garbage in my hand. Okay? No shame in the game. Do whatever you have to do. Just be safe and get the job done. Okay? So these are all things that people missing a limb, particularly a leg, are going to have to figure out at some point or another. How do you do these things? You don't want to hop with a pot of boiling water. You can't hop with a cup filled with a drink, soda, water, hot coffee. How do you open up a garbage can that you have to step on when you don't have 2 feet? So you can't step and stand at the same time. That's why there's videos like this on the internet. Do not be afraid to reach out for help. Search it, Google it. Somebody's probably figured it out and put it out there. That's why I started making these videos in the first place 10 years ago. I couldn't find anybody to tell me how to do these types of things, so as I would figure out how to put on a shoe, or how do you put on a pair of jeans when your ankle doesn't bend? How do you get it over your foot? Like, when I figured out these things, I would then film myself doing it and putting them up so that if anyone else had the same problem, they could just stumble onto my channel and find the solution. Ask for help, reach out, do what this guy did when he commented it on my channel. How do you get from one room to the other? I don't know if they're actually an amputee, if they were just curious, or if they were just trolling. But either way, a video is now out there on the internet. So figure it out for yourself, but if you cannot figure it out for yourself, reach out for help. People are out there, we've done it, we've learned it, we'll help you. So as always, it's your boy Johnny, aka Crew 90, and I'll catch you next time.